I'll take it.
Away!
Running in!
Want some of this?
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days. And I thought last summer's epidemic was difficult.
It's locked.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Are things better now Dr. Swansea has returned?
Dr. Swansea visited here for the first time last night. He wanted to know if the corpses were adequately confined.
What do you think of that?
I'm glad, sir. We spent too many weeks facing death and disease without really taking security measures. It's good to have him back.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful. Never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead, seem peaceful and lost at the same time.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
How is everything now that Dr. Swansea is back?
The hospital could not keep on like this, without an administrator. So things are back to normal, I guess.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money? Fame? Or are you truly dedicated?
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
I don't see any reason why I should justify my actions to you.
That's true, Dr. Reed. The only judge has to be yourself. The question is, are you judging yourself hard enough?
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. What do you think of Dr. Tippett's opinion of your promotion, Waverly?
Tippett is a good practitioner. Maybe just a little too attached to his prestigious position at the Pembroke Hospital.
Really? That's exactly his diagnosis of you. A little too eager to get promoted? A little bit too proud?
He has the right to think so. But I deserve this promotion. And I don't consider it anything but well-earned.
Do you think Dr. Strickland has any chance of curing the Spanish flu by himself?
His wish to cure the sick is not driven by pride, but by an idealistic view about our mission here. Honestly, I don't know which is worse.
You consider him a good practitioner, yet you will not report his methods.
Strickland may be a rival, but I will not use dirty tricks or regulations to prove him wrong. We are doctors, not politicians.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
How are things now Dr. Swansea is back?
He visited me soon after his return. He asked me if I'd agree to some experimental procedure. I said I'd think about it.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give it.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I will not let you down, my boy.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
How is the situation now that Dr. Swansea is back?
I'm impressed by the man. He was abducted, and now he's back happy as ever, helping the patients all night long. An example to us all.
Did you know Dr. Ackroyd never reported your experimental research, despite the fact he doesn't agree with it?
Really? I didn't suspect he knew about my work. I must confess I am surprised.
Perhaps he thinks you should realize for yourself the danger of what you're doing.
See how condescending he can be? My God, he can be so irritating.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, Miss Hadloft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Are things better now that Dr. Swansea is back?
The vampire hunters have not come back. I hope this time it's for good.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities. Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Is the situation better now that Dr. Swansea has returned?
I don't know. He seems different.
How so?
Last night, someone approached me while I was sleeping. I didn't move. Not a muscle, but he was sniffing my neck. Just like Thelma does.
Are you sure it was Dr. Swansea?
I recognized his cologne.
What happened then?
Left without a word.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Damn. The pain. It's here again. Disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
How are things now that Dr. Swansea is back?
I must admit, the situation is better. We still have to deal with the epidemic, but it's good to have someone in charge again.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
How are things now that Dr. Swansea is back?
Dr. Swansea seems changed by what happened to him. Really changed. Yes. It's like he finally found his true self.
Changed how?
I don't know. Happier? No, it's not that. More serene.
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
How has it been since Dr. Swansea came back?
Rumour says you saved him. I must say I'm impressed.
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Jonathan, my dear. I can never thank you enough.
Thank me? For what?
Come now, you know what I mean. I am... well, I'm just like you.
Have you no shame? Must I remind you of your ludicrous actions? Of the innocent men and women who died at your hands?
Shame is for mortals, Jonathan. I know it now, and you should too. We are something else. Something more.
How do you feel since you changed?
Absolutely fine. Just by looking at him. Fascinating.
Have you taken a life yet, Edgar?
Don't you think that's a private matter? I would not ask you such an indiscreet question.
Do you feel the hunger?
Yes. It's very peculiar, not like mortal hunger at all. It's like I'm never sated. Fortunately, blood is no rare commodity at Pembroke.
What about the Brotherhood? Will they eject you?
I remain a member. I have information to provide now. Intelligence from the other side, if I may say so.
They won't banish you.
Not so long as I behave.
What will you do now that you are immortal?
Experiment, my dear colleague. I have an eternity to make scientific progress. I could be the only scientist able to undertake extreme experiments upon himself.
What kind of experiments?
Who knows? Nervous shock, brain damage, pain and recovery. There's almost no limit to what my body can now endure. I could be the next Henry Head.
My God, Edgar. Did you learn nothing from your forays into folly?
I have, I swear. No more experiments on mortals. See? I said mortals. How quickly the mind adapts.
Will you continue as Pembroke's administrator?
Of course. I can help more than ever. And since I'm already dead, I can't get sick.
Are you not afraid Priwen will find you? Next time, they will do more than abduct and torture you.
I remain a man of peace. If things were to go awry, I would flee rather than slice them up as you would, my friend.
Have you seen Elizabeth? Has she passed this way since you returned?
No. And I'm terrified to see her again. I really am, Jonathan. She could very well tear me to pieces for what I did.
Goodbye, Edgar. I'm certain we'll meet again. It's locked, all right.